Well, greetings all. So if you're like me, when the weather starts to turn nice, I start to get a little stir crazy, and nothing takes away my boredom and actually relaxes me more than going out and working in the yard. I've got I don't know what I was thinking when I bought this place 20 years ago, but I've got an acre of land, and to give you some perspective about how big of an acre is, if you remember the World Trade Center building, each one of those occupied an acre in space. So that's about the size of my lot. I think it's 192 feet by 220 feet is my acreage. So keeping that clean and decluttered is a very important part. And when you're dealing with, a lot the size that we have, it requires a lot of mowing and maintenance and so forth. So, being the eco-friendly person that I am, everything comes from the earth, so I like to return it to the earth. Now, we have a dump just a few miles up the road, and I could load all of this trash that I'm collecting into my pickup truck, take it up to the local dump, and pay a fee to dump it, and it goes into a landfill somewhere. But I prefer, to return things from whence they came, which means back to the earth. So we are out in a rural area, and we are allowed to do controlled burns, or allowed to burn trash. We're allowed to burn pretty much anything we want. Now today, as you can see, was a particularly windy day, but the wind was coming out of the north, and my back is to the wind, and it was blowing to the south. So it was, even though there were 10, 15 mile an hour winds, it was perfectly safe to burn. The area all around my burn pile is green, and I wetted it down with a hose, as you can see, and to keep any fire from spreading. Fires out here are a serious concern. About 10 years ago, we did have a serious grass fire. Somebody was barbecuing or doing something and knocked their barbecue grill over, and we nearly lost our house, but thanks to the efforts of the volunteer fire department out here and a little bit of hard work on my part, we managed to save the house. But it was a scary proposition. If you've ever been through a wildfire, you know what I'm talking about. And the grass doesn't need to be very high for a grass fire to occur, or very brown for that matter. So this is we have a pile that we kind of throw stuff that can be burned into, even metal. There's a lot of metal in this pile. So what I like to do is gather up trash from around the yard. Things like, waste material from building materials and that kind of thing. Now, why my spouse is swaying back and forth from side to side, I have no idea. But you notice when we sped the footage up that he's sashaying from side to side. I don't know what all that's for. The level is, we just recently had the house leveled, so we were checking the level of the deck, and that's when we found out how out of level the deck is now. It's sloping by about 5 inches toward the burn pile. But anyway, so what I do is I've been organizing. These are my waste 2x4s and 2x6s that I'm stacking on top of the hot tub, and then I'm going around and picking up trash from underneath. We save our boxes. We don't like to fill up our trash cans with boxes and that kind of thing. Stuff that we can burn, we save, and then we do what's called a burn pile. I could also use a burn barrel, but this works just fine. And there I was laying a heavy breaker bar on top of a box so that the wind didn't blow the embers into the neighbor's yard. But if you look at that telephone pole across the street, that's about where my property line is, in front of me. So that line there, if you drew a line from that power pole across, that's where my property line would be. So and my neighbor across the street was burning that day as well. We'd had a bunch of rain. In fact, it was kind of misty outside, so it's a perfect time to do a burn pile. And I was going stir crazy in the house, so decided to get out and get that done. just to get it out of the way. It also makes for, we have our neighbor comes and mows our lawn for us, the large area. We mow the front yard by hand. But now these pieces I'm bringing in are waste products from my deck that was being repaired on the front of the house. So a lot of this wood is rotted, etc. And the beauty of burning all this stuff, you see how big and unwieldy these old pieces of lumber are. You know, once you burn it, and I'm cooling off the rod there, the breaker bar, because it had been laying in the fire a while. And I only put that on lightweight items. Anyway, I digress. So what I'm saying is that you will see over time this pile of rubble and trash reduced to ash and its constituent metal parts. And then I'll take the metal parts out because they're worth money, put them into the truck and take them up to the dump, and they actually pay me for the waste, for the metal waste, only certain types of metal. But it's just a far easier way to deal with trash than it is to pay. I mean, we pay, give you an example, 3 months of trash pickup in our rural area. We were paying $95. We went with a different company, and now we're only paying $65 every 3 months. But you multiply that times 4, so it's 7 times 4, so $280 a year for trash pickup, pretty close to it. And a trip up to the dump is normally about anywhere between 15 and 20 US dollars. And I like fire. I like to stand around and light fires, I guess, from my youth. No, I wasn't a pyromaniac, but I never burned anybody's house down or anything. But I do find fire relaxing, and so that's why I do it. I need to clear my head and get out of the house and spend a little time outside with nature, and it's very relaxing. So, and here I was deciding what else I wanted to burn. So I'm looking around for any other trash, or actually, I think I was looking at the deck about thinking about how I'm gonna re-level it. And that's the beauty of just taking a break and going outside and just being calm and calming your mind, getting away from the daily grind. And I was discussing with my spouse what we're gonna, and this is what we do. We go outside and we go, wow, we have all this land and we can do all this stuff, and we talk about the future just like any other couple would, what we're gonna do. So some of you may find this video a little boring, but I just thought, during this time of crisis, get back to what's important. And I might have talked to my spouse about that swaying thing, because it's like he's dancing. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of hilarious. So I'm just gonna let this video kind of play out so you can watch the pile of trash be reduced to ash and metal. Then what I'll do is go back in a week or so and pull the metal out of it, pile it into the truck, take it up to the dump. The other thing I need to do is get rid of that hot tub. I inherited that from my brother, but seeing as I have arthritis and and I have diabetes, I can't be in a hot tub. I can't be in that temperature of water. It's not good for me, not good for my skin. So we've got to sell it. It's just I've been lazy and haven't put an advertisement up for it. I thought I had one person that wanted to buy it or wanted to pick it up, but I kind of fell through. So right now it's just a huge eyesore and it's in the way. And the thing weighs, I think it cost my brother $300 or $400 to have it moved here to our property from his when he had his pool put in. And so now we need to get rid of it and sell it on. But right now it's just kind of in the way. So all I do is I go around the pile of trash with water and just keep the fire from spreading, keep it wet. And that's pretty much it. I mean, it's a fire. There's not much to it. I also have a server box sitting up on the porch. It's under those two blue tarps. And so we're gonna burn that as well. So what I do is I collect the boxes, and instead of breaking, if I don't use them to ship something out, I'll just use them, or I'll just throw them on the burn pile. And it's just a really effective way to get rid of the trash. So, and you know, you're out in the fresh air, and well, there's no sunshine this day, but you know, you're out in the fresh air, and ooh, that was a good throw. I hit my spot. And so that's what we do. Yeah, so, you know, not the most exciting video, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what having a homestead is all about, and I just wanted to show you one of the, you know, a day in the life of, I guess, taking care of stuff around the house. It's, you know, you can see my spouse and I really like to spend time together and do things together, and, you know, in this time of crisis, I think that's what's important, is not sitting in front of the computer or listening to the news or worrying about what politician is doing what to whom, but, you know, just spending time with one another, because our time on this planet together is very short, and make the most of it. Even if you're arguing with your spouse, which we tend to do, you know, we argue about silly stuff, as all couples do, but it also clears the air and allows you to get a better understanding of one another and how you tick, and teaches you how to be a giver and not a taker, because a relationship is sacrifice, and it does take two. And so getting out, just spending time together out, just kind of relaxed and taking care of stuff, it's amazing how that can help cement a relationship. And we've been together 30 years this August, so in fact, we've been together longer than my parents were married. Now, we've only been married for a few of those years, but we have been with one another since 1990, more than half our lives, and we're a good match. So there you go, a day in the life of homesteading. I hope you enjoyed the video.